Everest is over there. Titanic is right here, 2.5 miles down, sitting exactly where it fell, and we still can't touch it.
Welcome back to History Forgotten, and I'm Zach. And today we're answering a question that sounds simple, but has destroyed the plans of engineers.
Why can't we just raise the Titanic? Think about it for a second.
We know the exact coordinates. We've sent cameras down there. We've sent submarines down there. We've even sent paying tourists down there.
So why hasn't anyone just brought the ship back up, parked it in a harbor, and turned it into the greatest museum on the planet?
People have tried. Dozens of serious plans have been proposed over the decades.
Every single one of them has failed, and the reasons why are far darker and far more fascinating than you'd expect.
Start with the depth. The Titanic sits about 12,500 feet below the surface.
Stack the Empire State Building on top of itself 8 times, and you still wouldn't reach it. As you can see, the pressure rapidly increases, pushing the gauge into the red zone. This visualization demonstrates in June of 2023, the world watched exactly what that pressure does. The Titan submersible, carrying 5 people to view the wreck, imploded in a fraction of a second.
The hull didn't crack. It vanished, and everyone aboard was killed instantly.
That's what 6,000 pounds per square inch does to a submarine built specifically to survive it. Now imagine rigging cables and say you somehow solve that problem. You still haven't solved the weight. The Titanic displaces over 52,000 tons, the equivalent of 36,000 cars. No crane, no cable, no material we manufacture today could lift that from that depth. And even if it could, the ship would tear itself apart the moment you tried, because the Titanic isn't down there in one piece.
It snapped in half as it sank. The bow and stern rest 2,000 feet apart.
And over a century of corrosion has turned the steel fragile and brittle. Pull on it, and it doesn't rise. It crumbles. That hasn't stopped some genuinely wild ideas. One plan proposed filling the wreck with millions of ping pong balls to float it up. An idea that collapses the instant you remember those balls would be crushed flat at depth. Another suggested encasing the entire ship in a giant block of ice, using 500,000 tons of liquid nitrogen. Someone even pitched pumping the hull full of compressed air to make it rocket to the surface like a submarine blowing its ballast tank.
Only one piece of the Titanic has ever truly come home.
In 1998, after a failed first attempt torn apart by a hurricane 2 years earlier, a 5-ton section of hull nicknamed
and now sits on display in Las Vegas. It took 4 years, 2 full expeditions, and millions of dollars to raise. And even if we could lift it, something else is already erasing it. Bacteria called Halomonas titanica, discovered in 2010, are quietly consuming the hull.
Scientists believe hundreds of pounds of iron vanish from the wreck every single day. Within a few decades, researchers think the ship could be gone entirely. But maybe the real reason isn't engineering at all. More than 1,500 people died when the Titanic sank, and most were never recovered.
The bodies are gone now, dissolved by a century in the deep ocean. But their shoes remain. When Robert Ballard first found the wreck in 1985, his crew didn't celebrate. They stood in silence over what amounted to a grave.
In 2012, the United Nations declared the wreck a protected heritage site, and in 2019, the US and UK.
So maybe we haven't raised the Titanic because we can't. And maybe we haven't raised it because we shouldn't. Somewhere down there are the last traces of people who never made it home, and the ocean is slowly, quietly taking the ship back to join them.
If this kind of story pulls you in, subscribe to History Forgotten, because there's a lot more history buried down there waiting to be dug up. I'm Zach, and I'll see you in the next one.